Hello, my name is Matthias Ziegler and I'm leading technology innovation in Accenture Austria, Switzerland, Germany and Russia, as well as all of our technology incubation groups in Europe. I'm happy to sponsor our TechInnoValue fireside chats in which Accenture's top experts share their view on innovation and on our future.
Hi, I'm Felix Schiessl. I'm a member of Matthias' team and I drive the quantum computing community and technology innovation marketing in Accenture Austria, Switzerland, Germany and Russia. I'm excited to get valuable insights from my guests in this series, so stay up to date by following our hashtag TechInnoValue. Today I'm with Emmanuel Viale, who is the technology innovation lead for Europe at Accenture. So Emmanuel, tell me a little bit more about you and your role, please.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Emmanuel, as you said. I'm French. I'm based in the south of France, in Sophia Antipolis, where I've been with Accenture for more than 20 years now, actually more than 23 years, always in our technology organization, and actually for the most time between the labs and now our new technology innovation organization, which I lead for Europe. And always looking out for emerging technologies and applying them as much as possible and having fun along the way, of course.
So great that you joined us. Thanks a lot. And my first question is, how can companies ensure their innovations have a smooth transition from research to reality?
So that's a very excellent question, and I think the biggest challenge even for us and of course for our clients and for the companies we work with, we partner with. I think it's I would say art and science. One is the science is how you put the KPIs, the measures, the objectives, the mission of the innovation you want to achieve, the type of innovation, and you put the structure, the process, the good practices. And I think even ourselves within tech innovation and before that emerging technologies and labs and all the previous, I would say, innovation parts of that we had in Accenture, we're still evolving, and I think that's the nature of it. So I think one is to put the rigor and the discipline behind the innovation, how you measure the success, what you mean by this. And then of course there is what I call the art, the artistic part, which of course goes with innovation. It's how you make sure you leave a bit more freedom to uncover new nuggets, whether from a business, from a technology, of course, standpoint, and how you make the two. I think overall, the smooth might not be the smooth transition. I think for me, the name of the game is how you're at speed and the first one, if it's going to be a differentiated innovation that you're targeting to be the first one in the market, or on the contrary being a fast follower. I think all solutions will work from that smooth transition as long as you're very clear as a company on your strategy towards innovation, especially with tech-driven innovation where they are always new and there will always be new technology, convergence of technologies, the combinatorial effect that will come along at a different pace in the coming years. The name of the game is which one you pick up, where you put your investments, and again towards which goals from a business standpoint. I think that's really the key in terms of the smooth, what I would call a smooth transition.
And when starting to trying out a new technology, which challenge is common but easily avoided?
Well, I think the one is, I would say, don't reinvent the wheel as a company, and even ourselves as part of tech innovation. That's why we have ventures and open innovation to look at what startups are already working on the topic. What is the current ecosystem, whatever, however small or big in terms of a particular technology domain or area that we're looking at. That's why, we have the labs where we look at the academic world and ecosystem, what universities, what consortia from, for example, EU grants, EU research projects, etc., are being organized about a particular topic. So how to avoid, again, reinventing the wheel and starting almost from scratch. And at the same time, I think also how we structure and again, we're taking the example of ourselves, with the rest of the innovation network and tech innovation as well, but also the rest of the innovation network, how, we rapidly team up to look, and us in tech innovation coming with the technology angle, we partner and say, well, which ones do we take on which ones do we put on not on ice, but maybe on on the side or with less investments. And I think it's that's what I think are the typical pitfalls, over investment. And I would say it's typically the fail fast, right? The failure would be to invest in 1 million or whatever the number, a big number, to realize that actually it's not going to work, it's not going to scale, for your business. That's failure. It's not failing if you say, well, we're going to put this, on hold, or we just, keep an eye on this area for 2 years and not invest too much. But the keeping an eye is important so that you can pick it up with early signals. So I think that would be kind of the typical, lessons learned that I've seen with clients towards innovation and how to pick it up and so forth.
So talking about clients and examples, which clients amazed you with their recent innovative projects?
Here again, I'm always, I don't have, one in particular. I have a few examples where, again, our clients are, innovating and, they are not waiting necessarily for us, unfortunately, to innovate. So I think we need to, keep ourselves fresh and even push even harder than ever before, to propose new ideas, to propose approaches, to propose, innovation as a whole. I would say I would call out a few examples in the recent months or current examples where, clients, for example, in the Nordics, where we are doing a simulation with XR. And again, you might say, well, that's something we've said for a number of years. But first, in terms of sales and revenue for us, Accenture, it's a quite significant project, quite big, almost to the size of a big SAP implementation, I might say. And second, from a technology standpoint, it's very cool because it's not just typical goggles, with XR and mixed reality kind of view. It actually includes, human elements to simulate, to stimulate the person in terms of here it's about combat and on the field action. So, quite very specific. So I think that's one. The second is also with clients in the cosmetic space, where they're not just looking at, I would call your typical, iPhone or mobile app, to help you with cosmetics, whatever the gender, whatever you're looking at from a cosmetic standpoint, but they're also looking at, what we call future technologies, around smart materials, around personalized cosmetics. And I think the scientific aspect combined with technology, so science and tech, is something that I'm impressed with those clients. But again, the good news is that we are teaming up with them in those two examples. And I think this is something we need to continue doing as well.
And looking at budget, so will Corona speed up or postpone spending on innovation?
Well, I would say, and if we look at the tech vision, it's if you remember the current tech vision and the introduction, we said, COVID has been an accelerator, of a multifold factor, let's say, towards digitalization and innovation. I think, of course, last year was a completely different context, where we were, I think, in the second wave or about to hit the second or third wave, whatever. I think even though the situation, is not completely clear right now and it's uncertain, we are seeing, I think, from indeed investments and also overall from the economy standpoint, I think quite a different context from a year ago. I think it's been an accelerator towards the need to innovate and adapt, and therefore, indirectly and or in many, even I would say directly for us, Accenture as a whole, but also from an innovation and tech innovation standpoint, I think I could see, clients' appetite to pass, the first wave or first wave of uncertainty, last year up until Christmas. Now in 2021, quite some further appetite and higher investments towards innovation. But again, it's also the challenge, that's the good news. The bad news or the challenge that goes with this is that innovation should, to your point before, what we just discussed, be applicable, be scalable, be potentially smoothly translated into results, whatever those results might be, per your first question. So I think it's for me, it's been an accelerator. Now, of course, it's still uncertain to look at the future, but I think we've seen for the past several months, and myself, included, and all of us, in Innovation Network and Accenture as a whole, quite an appetite to innovate, to differentiate, and take, this special moment, unfortunately, and the crisis in a way, into projecting and accelerating into the future. So I would say for me, it's still uncertain, but definitely more of a brighter outlook. And for innovation, I think the responsibility, and I would say responsible innovation, if I may have to summarize this.
So you're responsible in technology innovation for new emerging technologies that are just being incubated at Accenture, but also for really applied research in Accenture labs. So which technology is just leaving the research phase and has the highest potential to generate future value?
So yeah, I mean, the good news again is that we see now, it's not like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, or older people like me, even 20 years ago, where there were not even S curves at the time. It was a longer uptake, in terms of first maturation of the technology, also, creating standards towards a particular technology domain, let alone the combinatorial effect of those technologies together, which was even harder, or not even a word at the time. So I think, all of them come rapidly, to the front page, at least for us, in tech innovation, or, to our clients in the space. I would say, some, and again, the way we have structured ourselves in tech innovation, with the incubation part, where we see more of what are the future markets that we see created by new technology waves, whether it's quantum, XR, robotics, and of course blockchain and multi-party systems and others. But also those have started, of course, to leave the academic. But the good news as well is that there are still some uncertainties or evolution when you start to combine or just make evolve or standardize those different technologies, based on their specific aspects. Or of course, quantum is different from blockchain from the foundational standpoint, even though there are some common grounds as well, right? So I would say, the ones that we have ourselves, put our bets on already a few years ago, are starting to pay off, and trying to show, and some will take a bit more time. Quantum, I think I'm a hot believer in quantum, but I think and again, we see already some quantum development kits. We see a whole stack of providers, partners, startups, and ourselves, where we have we are all across the range, I would say. But at the same time, the quantum computer is not here yet as we expect it to be in terms of maturity. However, the good news is that we can start to train ourselves, of course, our clients, to look and explore together. And as we see those evolutions and particular use cases, or what I've just referred to as potential future markets, mature much faster, actually that's also other good news, is to take it on and so forth. So I would say right now, of course, the next frontier, or what's coming after, all those that I've just mentioned have left, the research, purely research aspect, even though we still look at them from a lab's perspective, but not so much as a new domain, but as a domain where inside it, even artificial intelligence, we have some great AI R&D in the labs, is still, of course, it's a business for Accenture. It's already our clients. And however, at the same time, around deep tech, as we call it, or smart materials, nanotechnologies, or space technologies that have a foot into grounded literally on the earth, and at the same time, with the different context and constraints, are also fascinating and evolving. So I would say those are the ones coming up where we'll see some civil applications for space technology, for example. And also, deep, what's called and referred to as deep tech, and science and tech was what I was referring to before, are for me, again, coming rapidly. And again, good news is they will leverage the standards, cloud-based or as a service approach, so meaning almost available from the get-go on the cloud, for us to play with, to start to train ourselves and actually do the first pilot, the first experiment, proof of technologies, proof of concepts with clients very rapidly.
Great. Thanks a lot for your time, Emmanuel, and for your insights. So everybody make sure to follow him on LinkedIn and stay tuned with the series.
Thanks everyone, and thanks Felix for the interview.